and you are set into your your mission, and it makes sense to you. But in order for you to actually action it and make an impact, decisions have to be made by another body, like a lot of people. And if there's a lot of resistance, you may end up not having an impact. I think this probably happened in Obama's era, where maybe he's trying to enact some sort of legislation or whatever, but because he doesn't control the Congress or something, then he's like deadlocked and he can't do anything. How can leaders manage that conflict that's stopping them from being authentic and pursuing? So
I have some folks that I'm talking to, they're really desperate, and they're asking, if I'm willing to get into politics, because honestly, I need to infiltrate that circle, so to speak, because there are certain people in there that have influence and power that are looking for optimization. They just don't have the access to the resource because nobody's offering these environments. It's in the same kind of coaching or advising, et cetera. It's like, look, we got to break away from that. And this is such a complex paradigm. And we're not going to completely turn it on its head in the next, year. It's not like it's going to happen. I may come in and do some work with some people, and I know that I'm not going to suddenly, oh my gosh, everything's turned on its head. It's different now. However, think about the types of people that are being put into office, and then considering how they are utilizing their own personal views of something to battle legislation, to battle decisions, instead of understanding what is best in balance for everyone to be lifted up, right? One side trying to push their views and beliefs to get things going, and it's another side trying to combat theirs to get it going, and everybody thinks that they know what's best, and nobody's actually doing what's best. People want to be right. They're not doing what's right. So conflict is necessary, but discernment of what type of conflict, that is the root that should be anchored in when it comes to you having those types of confrontations. In the work that I do, it is in confrontation that I accelerate a leader. It is in confrontation with me in that relationship. They can feel the level of love, the level of trust, the rapport, and my desire to get them to the top of their game. I don't care about their comfort in the moment. I care about their freedom. So if you are a leader and you're in confrontation with another side that's it's about bringing together the discernment of the right type of confrontation for the outcome you both want for the industry that you're trying to transform. But we are not doing that. It's just this battle of factions. It's my tribe versus your tribe, and we're getting nowhere. Leaders are unwilling they don't know how to have good fights. And one of the things I learned a long time ago, being ex-military, I grew up in this like Scottish Irish household. My mother's mostly Native American, but we grew up around the idea of boxing, and we used to throw gloves on as kids at parties. It's kind of funky if you think about it. I learned this a long time ago, especially then becoming a combat infantry leader and going to war and getting out and being in specific types of like maybe altercations or whatever it might be, is that you only really know someone when you fight them. Doesn't mean go out and punch them in the face. Every once in a while, somebody deserves to get hit upside the head with a chair. I laugh at that all the time. But here's the thing. Confrontation is not unhealthy. It's understanding and discerning what type of confrontation. How are you approaching that confrontation? And is it necessary to have that confrontation? So when you fight someone in that way, you really get to see who they are. When they are in the heightened state of emotion, when they're in the heightened state of combat, so to speak, like our society has been turned into this almost combat-like zone, you see the truth of someone. And that's why in my work, and I want folks that are listening to this and leaders that are out there going, this guy sounds interesting. Let me lean into it. If you something, let's have a conversation, because what matters here, Alex, like you and I are having, is in that heightened state of confrontation that we have, that people should have, you'll see the truth, period.
Wow.
Period. People cannot hide their truth when they're in that confrontation. And when you fight them, you get the real them. And that is where I can access your power, your potential, and get rid of and eradicate those blind spots, those stresses, etc. And that is where we can actually get you to accelerate. But we don't have that level of trust and vulnerability. And people are trying to put up walls. And when they fight, they only fight from a superficial level, and we never get to the depth. And that's why we have our leaders, like you said. How do we deal with this conflict in this balanced way? Is because you don't have people knowing how to battle each other or have that confrontation. We're always going to have it. We're human beings. We're a weird species on this planet. We're trying to figure out how to have a free society, and it's an experiment. And we have to understand, who are we, and are we willing to do what's right versus trying to just be right? And when conflict and confront each other, what is the outcome we're looking to actually accomplish when we have that confrontation? When you battle, you get to see the truth of someone. So when you see politicians being pushed and their reactions are to name call, right, to put people down, we have a vast swath of our population over here in America, especially, is they believe that to be strength. They believe that when you hear someone being name called, it's like, yeah, that's a tough get on. That's like a low vibration of conflict energy. These politicians doing that, and what people that are sophisticated enough to see the truth, they're going, I see that this person's just really insecure at the core. They're unresolved. They're broken. They're damaged. Their mind is broken. We have a lot of narcissism going on because that's a self-loathing personality. And we have people that embrace that, and we have people that see the truth. And everybody's like, well, I'm right. Well, I'm right. Well, I'm right. It's like, well, it's not about being right. Why can you realize is, why do you find value in someone who interacts with others when they have conflict with them that way? Stop and go, wait a minute. How am I reacting to stress? How am I interacting with people that push me? How am I interacting with my staff or my employees or my executive staff that challenge my decision-making or my leadership? Am I able to embrace that, or do I push back and I make them wrong? Do I call them names, or I punish them, et cetera? And these are the awarenesses I want people that are listening to pay attention to when they are doing work, when they're into the world and wanting to create more impact, is starting to slow yourself down just enough to go, wait a minute, how am I approaching conflict? How am I approaching confrontation? Do I react or do I respond? Am I allowing certain things to come so I can get the right solutions, or am I just trying to be right? Does it help?
No, absolutely. I mean, that's absolutely profound. I mean, Wylie, you've got a very amazing different level of consciousness around these things. It's been really.
I appreciate that, Alex.
Amazing,
what I love about you too is, man, because you first of all, your smile is contagious. Second of all, you're just able to roll with it, and you actually are hearing what I'm saying, and then you're able to ask good questions that really bring out more. Because what matters is that I'm sitting here making sure that people feel a new level of challenge for themselves. We can talk about my story all day long, but what I really like talking about is what you brought to the table. Is like, look, what is it actually going to take for me to really expand my awareness and expand my capacity? And that's where we were able to go, which I really thought was fantastic. I can talk about it all day long.
Absolutely. So as we sort of draw to a close, maybe just talk us through, the key aspects around health and wellness and just living life on our terms.
How I want to make sure I got that question. How we develop awareness to live life?
So the key aspects and the importance of health and wellness, in enabling us to actually live life on our terms. Once we attain all these different levels of consciousness, and we can start to live life in accordance to our values.
Right. Well, health should be a priority for everyone. It's almost like the simplest of ideas, but it seems like the hardest thing for people to grasp. I want to be a billionaire, so I'm going to sacrifice my health and my relationships to get there. And I go, you know what? And I have a specific article or blog on my site as well that I talk about this. And it's this idea that sacrifice is necessary for success. Well, what type of sacrifice? What type of suffering are you willing to go through to succeed? There's unhealthy suffering and sacrifice, and there's healthy suffering and sacrifice. Understanding, again, discerning when and where and how to utilize those innate components of growing. But awareness comes from an ability to understand that your thinking is not absolute. And it's kind of like, I'm a skydiver. So I love skydiving. And I say it all the time is, a mind is like a parachute. It only works when it's open. And when you have this idea that you have figured it all out, you're probably nowhere near where you think you are. Real leaders have that ability to stay open and to be challenged and to be pushed. And they have, from people that might be quote beneath them, so to speak.
Yeah.
Realizes like a real leader that wants to take it to the next level is willing to bring someone into their life to look at the ugly corners that they have not looked at. Doesn't matter what their name is, doesn't matter what their background is. What matters is, do they get the result and do they optimize me? So awareness comes from that ability to realize your mind is supposed to evolve. It's supposed to expand. It's why it's gray matter, white matter. It's supposed to just build new neural pathways and create more new memories and new experiences. It's not designed to be concrete. And we get ripped around this idea that I know something. So, well, then that's it. And anybody challenges that, well, I know it. And I believe that I know what is right. Socrates said it best. The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing, period. But what he's really saying there with that is when you can accept that you know nothing, you can learn everything. So we get these little brief quotes from our philosophers, right? So much more what they're saying if you study them. And understanding that, Alex, is that awareness expands when you can have an open mind and trust and embrace things that are outside of what you're used to and what you've grown accustomed to. So to really land this point, health is a priority. When you have optimized health, so much more can be put into your work. So much more can be put out into the influence you have. People will feel you differently. They will experience you differently. Relationships will naturally improve. Your decision-making will be more optimal because your mind is not clouded with stress and toxicity, etc. Awareness itself is the space in which your thoughts become aware of itself. So when you create more expansiveness inside you by being willing to embrace more of your intuitive side and stepping towards the unknown, that space grows. And then more can actually come from that. So I hope that answered that question.
Absolutely. That's been absolutely amazing while speaking to you. Now, there'll be a lot of our listeners wondering, how can we get hold of this guy? It's just been so amazing. So how can people find you, Wylie?
Sure. And I'm glad you asked that. Like I said earlier today, timetoerupt.com it's a forwarding to McGraw.com. And my name is, if you're running right now or working out or you're busy, and you're just listening to this, trying to remember how to spell my name kind of sometimes is hard. People have messed my entire life. But so timetoerupt.com, Alex, we'll take them right to this amazing character index that I created to really give high achievers a place to do more of a self-assessment to see if they have what it takes to be optimized. Then they can navigate through there because every aspect that I
is that the correct?
Perfect, brother. That's perfect.
Brilliant.
You can delve into. I have articles on there that I've written, like I told you, helping versus optimizing, or on the anti-retreat page that I have is called "Why You Need to Get Unfucked." The 5 major contrasts that you need to understand to take yourself and your organization to the next level. It's another great piece that I put together so they can have that exploration. But my contact information is there. I'm going to be very direct here, Alex. I don't do sales funnels. I don't do lead magnets. I am not looking for you to follow me. If you like what I have, great. That's great byproduct. What I care about is pick up the phone and call. And this is a hard concept for people because they're like, wait a minute. I'm not used to that. Everybody wants to sell me into the sales. And I got to spend all the time. No, pick up the phone. If you have what it takes, pick up the phone. Have a conversation and let's explore whether or not this would even be a right fit. I'm okay with that. But that's where they can get a hold of me. And then you and I are connected on LinkedIn.com for Wylie McGraw. So if anybody's connected with you there, they can jump right on the profile. I've been behind the scenes for 13 years. I finally come out into the digital world because I'm realizing how messed up our leaders are. And I want to provide them a new environment to really challenge themselves and take their performance to another level, which is why I'm starting to come out into the public now.
Wow. And I mean, you saying that is just a classic example of the very same things that you've been championing and talking about, people, being authentic you and following what you understand and believe in. Because like you're saying, the environment out there, it's all about, creating these funnels and generating, being as popular as you can and generating things. But you're taking a different view that is authentic to you, that, if someone resonates with your message, they are going to find you.
And it gives them the understanding that for me, I don't care about who you are. I don't care about your reputation. I don't care about your industry. I don't care about how much money you have. What I care about is your mindset and your desire.
Yeah.
For me, it's like, this is real relationship. I do not mess around. I very much built my business as the antithesis to all that on purpose. It demands me to be that way because I am so unique and different with the way I approach performance.
Yeah.
That those leaders that are listening going, you know what? I really pick up the phone, have a real conversation. Let's explore the calibration of each other and see if it makes sense, because that is where you're really going to know if you're ready to take yourself to an optimized state of performance.
Yeah.
And you're right, Alex, for me, it's like everybody's bombarded with the same old. And it's like, look, I care about privacy. That's why I don't talk about who I work with. I protect who they are on purpose, because it gives them that space, that environment to realize, wow, this is real, next level, intimate. I can be as open as I need to be because everybody else is using their name for their own growth, right? It's like, oh, I worked with Tony Robbins because it's like, well, if I did, I would never tell you, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. What matters is me focusing on you focusing on you. Who cares about all the names?
Yeah.
That's it. Do you feel connected to this? Are you desiring peak performance? And are you willing to do what you've never done to attain it? Because if you are, pick up your phone. You've got my number. Shoot me an email. It's right there. Let's talk.
Brilliant. That's absolutely amazing. Well, I've really loved this conversation with you. So do you have any, let's say, last thoughts or wisdom of things that our listeners should take away as we come to
wisdom? The only way you're actually going to transform your life is if you're willing to face your own truth. Everything else you might feel that's transforming you is really transferring this motivational spirit into you, and it's temporary. That's why you never truly feel fulfilled. And that's why I said it earlier. I'll leave with this. An optimized leader is what transforms this world. An unresolved one is going to continue to distort it. And that's why I'm out in the world doing what I do. I'm giving this environment, this place for people that really want an unencumbered life, an optimized way of performing. I want to give them access to that. And truly being willing to, like I said with you moments ago, is allow that mind of yours to stay open, connect more to your own intuitive side, and lean into the most uncomfortable of things, because that's where your capacity will in fact stretch when you're in real world challenge in real time. Anything else is going to leave the proverbial chips on the table, and you're always going to be left grinding for more.
Amazing. That's an absolute perfect place to end. Wylie, it's been an absolute pleasure. I mean, you can just see by the time we've gone, well beyond the time, because we're just so amazing talking to you. I feel like I can talk to you all day, because you just...
Well, I mean, we should talk again, even regardless. I mean, at the end of the day, brother, I very much enjoyed my time. So thank you so much again for having me. Thank you to everybody listening. It's very important, so I appreciate you.
Yeah, brilliant. I will definitely keep in touch, because there's I believe in this energy. You meet people for a reason, and sometimes you don't have to get bogged down into what that is. Just like you say about, you're facing a challenge. Just let yourself, trust that the right response will come, and that's the same thing around energies and intuition and feelings you have for people. And so it's just been amazing speaking to you, and I'm sure we'll catch up again, at some time very soon. So enjoy the rest of your day, and it's been a pleasure having you.
We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thanks. Brilliant. Thanks, Wylie. Cheers.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Bye.